£1, 3 meals, London. That's not £1 for each of the 3 meals, that's £1 for all 3 meals. This is inspired by a YouTuber called Atomic Shrimp. I've been captivated by his videos about this level of budget and the planning required to make meals work. So watch me as I scour the supermarket trying to find a way to make this challenge work. The rules are simple. I am not allowed anything other than water and salt and pepper whilst trying to make these meals. You just saw me take advantage of a very discounted loaf of bread, and luckily it was protein bread. However, you'll quickly see as I explore that there are no options to make this work with any sense of variety if you don't get extremely lucky. Now, whilst you guys look at the footage, I wanted to talk about what the plans for this series are. I want to keep expanding on this. Every week I'm going to do a video where the budget is doubled. However, because I don't want to repeat meals, this means that there will still be a challenge as I can't use common ingredients. Hopefully this makes it a fun series that you enjoy, and you get to see me eat some fun stuff. I'm sure that the higher budget videos will be interesting in a completely different way than these ones, but for now, enjoy me trying to find a way of making £1 work for 3 meals. Now, so far you've seen me pick up a very discounted loaf of bread, 1 egg. See, 1 egg being 35p meant 1 egg was all I could afford. And having realised that so far all I have is bread and 1 egg, I decided to try to get a banana for breakfast. At 99p per kilogram, I figured that I could get 1 banana for a reasonable price. So I went to the weighing scale to try work out how much it would cost me. Now, I'm going to try to do 3 different meals here, and I'm also going to try and avoid artificial food as much as possible. However, so far we don't really have anything for dinner. We have lunch and we have breakfast. Now, you'll see as I put these together that the 35p from the eggs added to the weight of banana gives us a total price of 52 pence. As we have already spent 42 pence, this means I have to work out how to get 6p of value. That is 6% of our budget, so it is important. Having talked to a slightly concerned and confused worker at Morrison's, he suggested loose vegetables were the way to go. So I tried to find a 6p segment of carrot. However, in my haste to rush and do it as quickly as possible, I actually seemed to go under on the value, and instead of a 6p piece of carrot, I got a 3p piece of carrot. This sparked what I can only describe as perhaps the weirdest shopping trip I have ever had, in which I'm pretty sure the workers saw me go back and forth between the carrot aisle as I tried to get a chunk of carrot that was exactly 3p. Eventually, I did it, and that leaves us with exactly £1 spent. Now, as you can probably tell, the biggest part of this challenge is going to be getting through as much bread as possible. Nutritionally, it isn't providing for everything, but it is providing for a lot. Got quite lucky on the reduction. This is normally £1.55. Each slice contains 6% of the energy I need for a day, and I count 17 slices. So, 17 slices, 3 meals. Let's try have 5 with breakfast, which is of course a banana. So I envision today's meals looking something like this. Now, I think it's fair to say this isn't exactly going to be the most delicious day, but it might get us close to the nutrients we require. Now I've spent exactly £1 here, so we are getting the maximum that we can from this strategy, but let's see how that works. Time to eat breakfast. Time for lunch. Now the issue here is that I couldn't afford oil, so I'm going to have to use no oil for this egg. Now since I'm going to be making some egg, I might as well make some toast with this rather than having to just eat bread all day. So I'm going to toast the bread. Now I am absolutely craving a cup of tea, but unfortunately I did not get any milk or any tea bags, so maybe that'll be one to leave for the next video. Okay, definitely got some shell in it, but that's gonna have to be fine. Honestly, at this budget, it might be good. Add some extra nutrition. You know what, I fancy scrambled egg. I'm gonna scramble it. Okay, and that gives us scrambled egg and toast. I am allowing salt and pepper for condiments. Oil fell a bit far, but salt and pepper feels fine. And this is 2 slices of toast, 1 egg scrambled, and 3 slices of bread, which is lunch. Okay, final meal. Time for dinner. Now I have 7 slices of bread left to eat. I'm going to eat them all just so I can get the maximum amount of nutrition. I've got carrots. I'm going to eat these with the skin on, but I'm going to chop off this top bit. You can eat carrots with the skin on. Don't know if it's going to be quite as nice, but I'm going to wash them and then do that. Okay, see you guys after. So, it's the day after. Let's review how we did. So, final thoughts. I have not managed to get all the requirements based on the daily reference intake, but I've managed to get close. So, you need to have over 2,000 calories a day on average. I did 2,260. Less than 70 grams of fat. I had 27.9. You need to have less than 20 of those grams being saturates. That was 6.6 grams. You need to have over 260 grams of carbohydrate. I had 400.9. You need to have more than 50 grams of protein. I had 89.1. Pretty much all of that coming from the bread, actually. Sugars, you should have over 90 grams of sugars. I only had 48.3. And salt, weirdly, I thought I would be doing pretty well here, but the daily reference intake, you need to have less than 6 grams, and I had 8.16. So the big one is I need to have more sugar. But overall, I'm quite happy with how I did. I think it proves that it's not really feasible, but perhaps if you're extremely lucky and you plan it perfectly, you could get there. I'd be really interested to see what would happen if you can really make use of some good discounted foods, like I got the good discounted bread. But it's odd because I ate all 17 slices of bread, and even then, I was only really just over the calories. I got 2,006 from bread, so if I'd had a few less slices, I actually would have been under, which is crazy, given how much food I felt like I was eating. This challenge seems to be a thing where you have very little food, but actually what ends up happening is you have to buy cheap things in bulk, so you end up eating a ton of food. Now, I think when I've done this previously, going around the shops trying to work out what to buy, I've ended up failing just because there aren't cheap enough carbs. But really, protein is the one I thought I'd struggle with. Protein, I got quite lucky because it was kind of protein-rich bread that was on discount. The alternative was going to be potatoes, but I feel like then I would have struggled to get the protein. Either way, we're going to revisit this. We're going to do £2, then we're going to double up to £4, and so on. So eventually, we're going to be having some really fun videos on the other side of things, where it's not so much a budget, but a nice opportunity to try some nice foods. But it's good to try this. What it has made me realise is just how little £1 buys you. I looked at lots and lots of things that I thought would be less than £1, and they were often multiple pounds. Protein wise, it is pretty much impossible to get any good natural source of protein. Now you might be thinking that there were lots of opportunities that I didn't take here. A big part of this challenge for me was trying to avoid artificial and extremely highly processed foods. I guess you could argue that the bread wasn't ideal, but I'm happy enough with how that went. Another one to talk about is the fact that doing this is very, very time consuming. You're spending £1, but in terms of the cost of your time, it's probably costing you more than just going grocery shopping normally. I spent probably about an hour going backwards and forwards, not to mention all the times previously I've walked down all the aisles trying to work out what to get. So if you were doing this for one day, you'd actually really struggle just to kind of manage to find the right things. You've got to line up time-wise to make sure that you get the discounted food at the right time. It's quite difficult. Now, obviously, there's an argument to say you can just do it over a lot of days, and then when you're doing £5 over 5 days, you can get stuff in bulk, and you can kind of make your own stuff by meal prepping carefully and really dividing the calories. But I think, again, there's just different sense of difficulty there with kind of how much care you have to take. A lot of the discounted food is just about to go off, so to do that over 5 days would be difficult. I don't think it's a video I plan on doing, just because this one was quite tough, but I enjoyed it, and hopefully you guys enjoyed it too. So I'll have to get back to this with a £2 video.